If you find yourself in a point in which you've tried the strategies and you've hustled and grinded and efforted your way to where you're at, but you're still not making forward progress, or you're not where you want to be, I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. However, you are looping, keeping you stuck in patterns that aren't serving you. Today, I'm going to help you understand how you got to where you're at, but most importantly, how to break the cycle and upgrade your identity so you get the results that you want in your health, finances, relationships, and business. So let's get into it. There are only two things that are creating your reality, and they feed each other. So if you don't upgrade or change the cause, you can't change the effects or your current results. And here's what it looks like. Identity is the first piece. Identity is the cause. And what this means is it's your self-concept. It's your self-image. It's how you see yourself, your beliefs, your emotional baseline, and a lot of it based on past memory or experiences. So identity is the first cause, but it's your identity that then creates your state, and we're talking emotions and mental attitudes. Those two combined drive your behaviors, your actions, and that's what gets every result in your life. So here's why hustle and grind and more effort isn't getting you to where you want to go. All of that is only down here at the habit level. It's surface level. And as you can see, it's not your habits and behaviors that are the first domino or that's what's driving everything. It's like the last thing creating every result. So what we have to do is get down here at the root cause. And until you shift these two things, state and identity, how you operate, literally think about it as your OS, your operating system, none of this changes. So for example, I want you to think of your smartphone. There is nothing inherently wrong with a smartphone, right? But a smartphone is only as good as the apps installed. It's only as good as the user using it. So if you don't have installed apps, mental attitudes, emotional states, certainty, and conviction, if you're not operating from that state of being, which drives consistency and wanted behaviors to get wanted actions, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you spend on marketing, no matter what strategy you have, you're not going to get wanted results. Have you experienced or seen how a strategy can work for somebody, but not for somebody else? This is exactly why. The strategy is only surface level. It's the third piece, which is creating the results. But if you don't update these, the strategy is only a very small fraction. So let's get into what actually comprises identity and state, and more importantly, how you become aware of it and how you change it so that you can get the wanted results in your health, finances, relationships, and business. So as I shared with you, identity, think of it as your self-image. It's your self-concept. So it is made up of your beliefs, which a lot of the times beliefs aren't even yours. And what I mean by that is from birth up until age 7, you are primarily in theta brainwave state. And all you need to know about that is theta is the brainwave state for hypnosis. And when you're primarily in that state, you take in everything as fact, everything around you from mom and dad and culture and environment and community. So if you grew up around money is hard to come by, or that love creates fear or stress, or good things always end, those subconscious beliefs are then driving your state, which is your thoughts, your mental attitude, your emotional baseline. And those two are what drive your behaviors. So as you can see, if you don't upgrade the identity aspect, all of this is downstream. And what I really help my clients do is we get to the root cause. We don't do surface level motivation, which is like mowing the weeds in your garden. Sure, it looks pretty for a minute, but it's not lasting sustainable change. You have to pull the weeds and plant new seeds. So what else is in identity? It's beliefs, it's memories. So let's say You had a hard experience, you had heartbreak at 16. So now you don't feel worthy, you don't feel enough. Love is scary, love isn't safe. So of course you have problems in relationships. What else? It's your emotions. It's repeated habits. So this just becomes who you are. So identity really is the who I think I am. Now state, think of state as the weather. It comes and goes, it ebbs and flows, and it's based on your thoughts and emotions. So if you have negative beliefs, negative thought patterns, that will keep you in emotional states of survival. And here's what survival looks like. And this is where most people are living. So if you're living in survival states, survival looks like stress, fear, doubt, worry, and dwelling on the past. This is where most people live. Most people live in this survival state, which again is stemming from identity. But think about it and look at your current results in your life. If you are primarily living in negative mentality, you're worried, you're in fear, when's the next shoe going to drop, nothing ever works out for me, you're dwelling on the past, you can only keep recreating the same. So I want you to see these identity state behaviors results as a feedback loop. And here's what happens. You keep focusing on your current results, the dollars in your bank account, your relationship status, you're not where you want to be at work. So you keep looking at the mirror, which is only feeding more of the same. See, nothing ever works out for me. So you keep looking at current results, which are only reflections on who you're being and your behaviors, but you look at them as fact. I want you to start looking at them as feedback. It's just feedback based on who you've been. So that is a paradigm shift on its own. With that new perspective, okay, the dollars in my bank account is because I've been living in scarcity, lack, fear, worry. I've been living in stress. And when you're living in that state of being, of course it's going to lead to unwanted behaviors. Overspending, constantly looking for coupons, thinking there's not enough, which is going to keep you looping. So how do you break the loop? That's what we're really getting into today. But as I share often, we need to talk about the 3 steps to help you break this cycle. The 3 steps to create any change in your life is always awareness. So you have to become aware of the identity and state that you are living from, your operating system, how you're showing up every day. Not as judgment, not as shame, not as blame, as feedback. Step number 2, despite where you're currently at, which remember is feedback, it's old news. What do you want? What do you want in your finances, in your health, in your relationships, in business, your lifestyle? What do you want your life to look like? And finally, step 3 is about the daily application. And what it really comes down to is what's called identity shifting. You have to get so clear on who you've been, but more importantly, who you want to be. And then it comes down to the daily disciplines and consistency and reps to now build this new identity, this new state of being, this new version of you, so you get wanted results naturally. And this is exactly what I coach my clients through. If you want to fast track where you are and start getting wanted results fast, I invite you to apply for one-on-one coaching. You can click on the link below in the description box or visit my website, heatherhakes.com. It's what I coach my clients through in an 8-week program to give you the tools and the blueprint so you can start getting what you want and stop living life by default. So let's talk more about this idea of identity shifting, the application part of this. Let's look at it like this. As that awareness piece, as step number 1. Step number 1, current you. So old self, or think about it as like version 1.0. Just get really clear. Who have you been? So for example, when I sat down years ago and did this for myself because I was stuck with unwanted results, I was full of self-doubt, procrastination, imposter syndrome, being inconsistent, and comparison. And these are universal. We all feel these things. But when you're ruminating in this identity and state of being, you will only create unwanted results. And that's what I had to look at. I had to look at the feedback, my current results, to help me understand who I had been being. So think about it, and think about this for yourself. If you are an individual who is consistently operating from the state and identity of you doubt yourself, which leads to, of course, it leads to procrastination, being inconsistent. Then you feel like an imposter, and you're focusing on, see, it's easy for others can do it, I can't do it. That is only reinforcing more doubt, more procrastination, more unwanted results. So it literally comes down to starving this old version of you because it's not serving you and it's not creating wanted results. Then you have to get really clear. Aim. What do I want? So what results do I want? And then we can backtrack it, right? So the dollar amount you want in your bank account. And don't be vague. You need clear goals. Your brain is a goal-achieving machine. What's the dollar amount? What's your lifestyle? What's the home, the relationship, the business? What do you want? Then we're going to have to reverse engineer what habits do you need to be taking. Obviously, being consistent, showing up every day. But most importantly, which is driving the whole show, who do you need to be? Which is exactly what I did. So my 2.0, looked like this. All right, pretty much the opposite of who I've been. I needed to be confident. I needed to be consistent. And you know what drives consistency? Conviction. I literally created conviction by taking aligned action. So I started trusting myself. So now I have certainty, I have self-trust, I have conviction, I'm being consistent. But more importantly, I got so clear on my why. I wanted to be a successful, thriving mindset coach because I knew how bad it felt to be stuck. So I stopped making it about me. And for me, it came down to if I could just help one person, if one person would make it worthwhile. And then obviously, now I have quite a following, but I had to start somewhere. So when I got really clear on what, and then I understood who I needed to be, and I started showing up for myself every single day, this old version naturally fell away because that's no longer who I was being. I was being confident, I was being consistent, I was taking action, and I started gaining traction. So let's look at that. I'm being consistent, I'm feeling confident and certain, and I start gaining traction. I start gaining followers. I'm getting engagement. I'm getting comments. I'm getting people sign up on my newsletter. I'm getting messages, how do I work with you? So now these new results are feeding who I want to be, and I'm starting to get positive evidence that I have changed. So the big thing you have to understand here is your current results are feedback. They're feedback. They're not final. No matter where you're at, it's not final. It's only feedback based on who you've been. And if you don't like your current results, you have to upgrade the state and identity you are operating from. And the easiest way I can sum this up is you in every moment, if you're living by survival, you're living by default, meaning you will always and can only get unwanted results. So you can either live your life by default in survival, letting this old version of you run the show, or you can live your life by design. And that's the only difference between, quote, the lucky or the successful or people out there. They're not smarter, more capable, or luckier than you. They are conscious and aware of who they're being. They have clear goals and they're acting in alignment. So the biggest difference between where you are and where you want to be is the awareness piece having clarity and a clear aim so that you stop dwelling on the past, so you stop living in stress, fear, doubt, and worry, and that's how you get wanted results. So I want to open this up to you. What questions do you have? Make sure you drop them down below in the description box. And the biggest thing I want you to understand is that change isn't complicated. Change really is simple. Now, it's not easy at first, but neither is any new thing. I remember when I was learning to snowboard, that wasn't easy. Learning any new skill isn't easy at first, but when you keep showing up, you build confidence, self-trust, and then it just becomes automatic. It's your new norm. So what this process really is taking you through is breaking free of this old autopilot loop, unwanted results, same shit, different day, breaking that loop and installing, you can think about it like that, installing this new hardware, upgrading state and identity so this becomes your new autopilot and you start living your life by design. Again, if you want to fast track where you are and have help and accountability in the frameworks to do this, you can apply for one-on-one coaching. And change comes down to making a choice. And the first step is to get out of your own way. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.